Hi everyone, my name is Vishen Lakhiani. Welcome to our masterclass here on Mindvalley. Today, what you're going to learn is a new way of observing how you evolve in the world, how you show up in the world, and how you grow, and applying advanced models of personal growth to accelerate transformation in every aspect of your life. For the last 15 years, building up the world's biggest personal growth company, I've been exposed to many extraordinary minds. But the story I want to share with you today was probably one of the most mystical experiences I'd ever had. There's a set of laboratories between Vancouver and Seattle where neuroscientists have been studying the brains and consciousness of people who have done seemingly impossible things, from Zen Roshi monks who are able to put themselves into elevated states of bliss, to billionaires who are able to build and manage great complexity and companies. What these scientists found out is that their brains are operating in a different way. In short, you can map consciousness directly to the brain. You can see how different brainwave states, how different brainwave pulses radiate consciousness. And what these scientists were trying to see is if you could map the consciousness from one brain to another brain. In other words, if you could reverse engineer the brain of monks who have spent 20 years in meditation and put those same levels of bliss into an ordinary person in about a week. So I was one of the first guinea pigs in these laboratories. And I remember one particular day in 2017. There I was in the lab. Two neuroscientists were outside the dark chamber I was in, monitoring my brain waves. I was sitting in a chair, meditating, going really deep, accessing what you would call the alpha and theta levels of mind. And all of a sudden, I started feeling as if someone was shaking my chair. I couldn't understand what was going on. It literally felt that someone had grabbed my chair and was shaking it violently. You know, like you're on a bus and you're going on a bumpy road. But then it occurred to me, no one else was in that chamber. It was only me. What I was having was a Kriya experience. A Kriya experience is often described in spiritual texts. It's a mystical experience where you feel energy going through your body. Nobody truly understands what causes a Kriya experience or how it emerges. Philosophers like Paramahansa Yogananda have been writing about it for close to 80 years in books such as Autobiography of a Yogi. Now, what I was having was a Kriya experience, but it didn't stop there. All of a sudden, I felt as if I was talking to an entity. Now, I can't describe what this was, and I'm not going to try to add labels to it, but I felt as if a higher power was speaking to me, and very gently, in the form of thought bubbles. In other words, not words, but thought bubbles, I saw a vision of what I was meant to do in the world. And that vision started downloading in my mind really rapidly. Again, no words, impulse, ideas, thought bubbles. What would be said in maybe a 10-minute dialogue was downloaded in 10 seconds. And as this was happening, I saw that there was a greater job this higher self needed me to do in the world. But I felt confused. These were some pretty big visions. How would I ever accomplish them? And that's when, as soon as I had that thought, how would I possibly accomplish all these things? Another thought bubble entered my mind. And this thought bubble was a technique. It was a technique called merging. Now, what was unusual to me then is that this technique that entered my mind on how to shift reality was completely different from anything I had been teaching in the past. I grew up learning about creative visualization, affirmations, the law of attraction. This technique that was implanted in me suggested that all of those other techniques were relatively basic and less sophisticated, and that there are more heightened advanced techniques that one could be using. I label this technique merging because it's literally about merging with the consciousness of that which you want to create. And since 2017, I've started using this technique in my life. Now, one of the unique nuances of this technique is that when you start doing it, you do not have to fully consciously know everything that you want out of life. Clarity is important, yes. Visions and vision boards and goal setting is important. But often there's an impulse from the soul of who you need to be and what you need to do. This technique called merging actually accelerates your soul guiding you. And so things happen on autopilot. I got the first big glimpse of this 3.5 weeks after I emerged from the chamber. I went back to my life, living my life as I normally did. I started applying this technique and I started seeing results. But that specialness, but I never really understood that things would happen on autopilot until September 17, 2017. I've been out of this training now for about 3.5 weeks. I was sitting on my computer doing the work I normally do, and all of a sudden I had this impulse. Check your book on Amazon. See how it's doing. Now, as an author, I can tell you that checking your book status on Amazon and looking at reviews and ratings is one of the most horrible things that authors have to go through. So usually if you're an author, you get your book out and then you just forget about it because there'll be some bad ratings, there'll be mostly good ratings. You don't want to be obsessed with how your book is standing. But this intuitive impulse was so strong, I decided to check and see how my book was doing on Amazon. And I checked and I could scarcely believe my eyes. It said, #2 book in Amazon. I'm like, what? #2 book maybe in a category like meditation. No, #2 book in all of Amazon. And I checked. And the previous day, September 16, I hadn't been on my computer. It was the #1 book. This was mind-blowing to me. It was my book had become the #1 book in all of Amazon. And briefly, I had become the #2 author in the world. I'd overtaken Hillary Rodham Clinton, whose book had just come out, Tolkien, the combined works of J.K. Rowling, to become the #2 author in the world. And The Code of the Extraordinary Mind had become the #1 book. It continued bouncing, and that year, it hit the #1 spot on Amazon 5 times. Now, I wasn't doing anything. There were no promotions going on. I'd not received any letter from my publisher. Something had simply happened in the universe that caused the book to soar up. And I couldn't understand what. But that gave me the confidence and the belief that I could be doing far greater in my life, and I needed to get these ideas out. It was almost as if the universe was saying, look, these ideas, get them out there, Vishen. Dedicate your life to teaching this. And this is what this class is about. I'm going to teach you how to put your personal growth on autopilot. I'm going to show you how there are 4 different unique levels of personal growth, and the tools that you use in each level are different and distinct depending on where you are. And I'm going to show you how to get to the ultimate level, level 4, where it almost seems as if there's a benevolent universe who has your back and things are happening on autopilot. And the stuff that happens on autopilot is stuff that you would never imagine would be capable in your life. I never imagined that I would have the #1 book in the world on Amazon across 20 million titles. But that is what happened on autopilot. So you guys ready to get started? So at this point, I want you to take out a paper and a pen, ideally if you have a journal. If you feel you are destined for something greater, you are in the right place. Now, over the last couple of years, since 2017 to the time I recorded this, I started traveling across the world and meeting some of the greatest spiritual teachers, men and women who are known to be powerful healers, whose clientele involved billionaires and presidential candidates and best-selling writers, men and women who suggested that they could influence the fabric of reality to make things happen. And I asked them, what happens when you reach these higher states of human consciousness? I looked at everything they were saying, and there were 7 qualities that they described. These qualities, though, are often not stuff that you learn about in regular education. So I want you to write down these 7 qualities right now. And as you write them down, ask yourself, if you had a magic wand and you could have one of these qualities emerge in your life, which would it be? Okay, ready? So the first quality is bliss. You find great joy in what you do. Work and play become one. Your personal life, your work life, every aspect of your life merges into a relative state of bliss. You are happy every single day. The second quality is immunity to overwhelm. Here you develop that ability to handle multiple projects, run multiple companies. Stress and anxiety do not dare touch you. You are immune to overwhelm, busyness, and you can multitask. A lot of people say you gotta focus. That's true only if you're at level 1 and 2. At level 3, focus is less important. At level 4, you do not want to focus. You are immune to overwhelm and you can handle multiple projects at once. third is relationships. Every single relationship in your life becomes win-win. Even if you go through a horrible breakup, a horrible divorce, even if you break up with a client that is bad to you, everything is win-win. You have no hard feelings, no anger towards the other person, and they disappear from your life and you still feel blissful and unshakable. The fourth thing is inspiration on demand. You can download ideas, download information, channel that energy into writing books, creating art, composing music. Inspiration on demand. It's as if your mind is plugged into a super intelligence. The fifth ability is abundance in every aspect of your life, not just money, but abundance in love, abundance in health, abundance in friendship, abundance in travel experiences. Whatever you seek, you get in abundance. You wake up every day feeling truly blessed. The sixth quality is flow and ease. Have you ever noticed those times when you are focused on something and everything just goes right? You love what you're doing, ideas flow, you produce your best work. In this scenario, you are completely and always in flow and ease in terms of what you're working on. And the seventh quality is one of my personal favorites. It's the ability to bend reality. What this means is that the goals, the visions, the ideas in your head, the things you put on your goal list or your vision board happen incredibly fast. It's almost as if the time from thought to reality has accelerated. These seven qualities are the qualities that start emerging when you go from level 1 to level 4. And you will go through a momentary dark tunnel, momentary pain, but there'll be a light at the end and a huge awakening that will very shortly come. Now, I want you to look at these seven qualities and ask yourself, if you had a magic wand and you could get just one of these qualities, which one would be the most important to you? So maybe for you, you lead a really stressful life, so it's immunity to overwhelm. Maybe for you, you're trying to overcome a heartbreak, so it's win-win relationships. You want to heal all the relationships in your life, including that person who caused you heartbreak. Maybe for you, you're an artist or a writer and you want to maximize your potential. Maybe it's inspiration and creativity on demand. Whatever it is for you, circle it. Now, a word of warning. Remember what I said. When you go through this process and you go from level 1 to 2 to 3 to level 4, which is where the fun and the chaos begins, know that your life will get disrupted. So I want to give you a warning in advance here. Remember what I said at the start of this masterclass. This is not just about personal development. This is about personal disruption. 1 year after my experience in that chamber, when I started playing at level 4, using techniques such as merging, precisely 1 year and 14 months later, my life went through an explosion. And if I hadn't been prepared for it, I would have thought that I was being punished by the universe. In a span of 6 weeks, this is what happened. First, I injured my knee badly. I was training to run a Spartan race, and I injured my knee. I had to go for serious medical procedures, and I was told that I couldn't run or jump again without severe knee damage. Now, I was only 43 years old. This was devastating to think that I could never compete in a Spartan race again. But pretty much a few weeks after that happened, the next tragedy struck. My childhood home caught fire. My parents were in it at the time. They almost lost their lives. They escaped on the roof and were saved by firemen. 1.5 years later, that home is still being repaired. The devastation and destruction was that bad. But the worst was yet to come. My marriage of 19 years suddenly ended. It ended. My wife and I got a divorce. Now, when you think about that, the health issue, your home burning up and your parents almost losing their life, a relationship of 19 years ending in divorce, it sounds like the most devastating thing that could happen, all in a span of just 6 weeks. But here's the important thing. When you start playing at this level, whatever in life doesn't serve you, the universe will come with a gentle hand and clear it away. When you walk out of a gym and you've just worked out, do you realize that your body is actually worse off? Your body is actually broken down. Your muscles have tiny micro tears. And when you walk out of a gym, you feel tired and you feel destroyed. But you know what? In the next couple of days, your body rebuilds itself better than before. This is how life works when you play at level 4. What I went through is what today I call the beautiful destruction. The beautiful destruction is when the universe comes down to reorganize what's going on in your life so that you can get to your next potential. I didn't know it then, but all of these 3 things would fundamentally change the course of my life. My knee injury led me to go deep into energy healing, and 14 months later, I'd recovered my ability to run and jump, and I'd learned a new skill. My parents' home burning down caused my parents to move closer to me. Today, my children and their grandparents are closer than we have ever been before. We're practically neighbors and we love it. My divorce was a conscious uncoupling. My ex and I are still close friends, co-parents, business partners, and we're both discovering the world and growing in remarkable ways. So see, this is why it's called a beautiful destruction. I want you to know if you go deep into my teachings, this will happen to you. You got to be prepared for it, but you will end up better off than ever before. As a side effect, you will start becoming immune to suffering and failure. When you fail, when you go through suffering, rather than it break you down and put you in misery, you'll simply go, wow, this is kind of cool. I wonder what's going to happen next. But I want you to know this. Many people who come here, you could be here because you are going through a painful moment right now. I want you to know that the tools that you learn here are going to help you transcend this. I've been there, folks. I've nearly been bankrupt 3 times. I've started a company with a best friend, only to have that best friend try to kick me out 9 years later. And everything going down an expensive legal feud. I've been through a divorce. I've seen my childhood home burn down. I've been a struggling entrepreneur for 5 years, burning through money, working my butt off, wondering when I would get out of the chaos and the brokenness that I was in. I've been there. But what I tried to do in all of these situations is study, 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 and go deep into the study of personal growth, to train with many of the world's best masters. And I've brought all of these techniques together to now deliver them to you so you can go through your big journey and your revelation. Every time I went through these, I learned to rebuild. And I often learned to rebuild by studying with some of the world's greatest masters, learning and practicing the skills that they taught me. What I do in my teachings is to bring all these ideas together so you have a roadmap and a set of tools, a literal toolbox to overcome all of these difficulties so that you can attain the greatest version of who your soul wants you to be. Now, something really curious happens when you start transcending these levels and applying level 4 tools. It seems as if all areas of your life take off. For example, one of the things that happens is that you might see your health suddenly improve. Right? Vitality goes through your body. For example, this guy, Sim from Singapore, wrote into me and sent me these pictures. He lost 17 kilograms while he was studying this work. 17 kilograms. This lady, Tabby from Scotland, saw her business take off. She went from a 1-person business to a 5-person business and started seeing all her goals come to her effortlessly. And I want you to know, this program isn't just for you if you're going through a hard time. Many of the world's most successful individuals use these ideas as well, especially the merging technique, to manifest incredible change in their lives. This is a letter I just got this morning from Camilla Hansen, the Maxim cover model and Miss Sweden, a remarkable entrepreneur living at the peak of her life. And she said ever since doing this program, she feels so much happier and in control of her life. And that really is one of the things that starts happening when you understand these 4 levels. You understand where you're at. You understand how you're meant to grow. And you gain a greater control over your life in every dimension. So I want to share with you something really interesting. So you know that whatever you're feeling, you're not alone. Before recording this masterclass, I posted these questions on Instagram. We have about 1 million people following me on Instagram and Mindvalley on Instagram. Mine is @Vishen, right? About 1 million people. And I asked them, what best describes your current life situation? Now check this out. 79% of people said yes to the following question. I am uncertain about who I truly am. If you feel uncertain about who you truly are, know that 79% of people feel the same way. The second question was, what best describes your life situation? Now check this out. 76% of people said yes to this. I find it hard to let go of things that don't serve me. If you feel that you are stuck in something, a job, a relationship, and you know at some level it's not serving you, but you don't know how to escape, know that as you transcend to level 4, the beautiful destruction kicks in and clears that for you. I want you now to circle the quality that you were most fascinated by, the one that you feel, if you had a magic wand, you would want to bring in your life. I want you to rate yourself. Where are you now on this quality? For example, immunity to overwhelm. If you are currently constantly stressed, constantly facing anxiety, dreading your job, feeling that you have no control over your life, you're going to give yourself a 1 or a 2. If you feel completely immune to overwhelm, let's say you're like Steve Jobs, right? CEO of 2 companies, you'd give yourself a 10. Choose one and rate yourself, because many of you are going to go deep with this training. And 30 days from now, I want you to rate yourself again and see just how much you have advanced. So give yourself the rating right now. Just put a little number. Whatever is the first in your intuition is probably the right one. Okay, now we're going to start the training, and I want to ask for your full commitment. What I'm going to give you here are some of the most powerful tools in personal growth. In exchange, I ask that you take this seriously, clear your calendar, do not get distracted, invest the time, and at the end, take action. Do not be a dabbler. Do not be someone who goes through some great insight and then puts it aside and goes back to Netflix. I want you to take action at the end of this masterclass, and know that when you take action, remarkable things begin. This masterclass is the first section of my program, Becoming Extraordinary. Check out what happened to this 19-year-old girl who took this program. Her name is Bianca Andreescu. She took the live version of this program and tweeted this from the seminar about how much this program shifted her life. Bianca, since the age of 16, had been practicing tennis, and she'd visualized herself winning the US Open. Yes, the US Open, and beating this lady, Serena Williams. A few months before this recording, at the age of 19, Bianca Andreescu actually beat Serena Williams. It was all over the global news. And being Canadian, after she beat Serena, she went up to Serena to shake her hand and apologize. And the press who were following Bianca, this 19-year-old girl, asked her, wow, you're so positive and optimistic. And what do you do to maintain that? And Bianca spoke about her personal growth practice. She grabbed her phone, showed my work, and credited some of the tools she learned here. You can check this out. It was written up in the press all over the world. And it shows you how powerful these tools are. Now I'm giving you a dose of these tools. What I'm asking is that you pay attention, you take this seriously, and you commit, because there is magic at the other end. So let's get to step 1. I want you to go back to the list of 7 abilities. Now remember, as you go through these training, all of these 7 abilities start emerging. But you circled one. You circled the one most important to you. Now the first key lesson is this. If you're trying to transform an aspect of yourself, you have to know your why. You have to know why you want this area transformed. I'm going to give you a minute right now. I want you to answer the following question. Write it down on your journal. Why do you want to transform this part of your life? Why do you want to unlock this ability within your life? Go ahead and write it down. Timer will start now. Ask yourself, why is this important to you? Why is this change necessary? Is it because you have unmet potential? Is it because you want to show up in the best way in the world? Is it because you want to attain your soul's potential and make a contribution to the planet? Write it down now. Time is up. Congratulations, you just established your why. Now, let's go into the first part of this training. understanding the map of consciousness and the 4 levels of consciousness. So when we look at people, when we look at personal growth, we tend to think that all personal growth is the same for everyone. Have you ever been in that situation where you try something and it works for you and you're trying to persuade your spouse or a friend or your mom or dad to do it and they are just so hesitant, or they do it and it doesn't work for them? Well, it's because while personal growth is a wonderful thing, there are 4 different levels in which people function in the world, and the tools of personal growth have to match the level one is at. So if you have a hard time persuading your spouse to jump on something that's resonating with you, it could be because he or she is at a different level. So let's talk about these 4 levels. And I want you, as I go through this, to ask yourself, what level am I at? Now, the important thing is this. Each of these levels correlate with how you see yourself in reflection to the world, or rather the matrix around you. I'm going to put up a simple diagram I drew on a napkin that talks about these 4 levels. Level 1 is called living in the culturescape. We will come to that in a moment. Level 2 is the awakening. This is the first step towards personal growth. The important thing to understand is this. At each level, you react to the world and you shape the world in a different way. Let's get started at level 1. Level 1 is where the largest group of humanity is at right now. I'd say almost 70% of all human beings. Level 1 is called the victim stage, living in the culturescape. Level 1 is a level where you've essentially forgotten about the abilities within you. You operate as if life happens to you. It is the economy, it's the politicians, it is your boss, it is the company you work for, it's your in-laws or your spouse or your family. Now the good news is, very few of you showing up today are at level 1, because at level 1, personal growth isn't something you would actually look at. At level 1, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, but you are still trapped in a conventional way of life, trained by an industrial age education system. You've forgotten that you are more than just a meat body. You've forgotten that you have spiritual abilities within. You may subscribe to a religion, but you're hooked on dogma and ritual. You have yet to awaken to the fact that you can shape the world around you. I often call level 1 living in the culturescape. The culturescape is that tangled web of beliefs, of rituals, of ideas from other human beings, often human beings that died generations ago. And when you're at level 1, you're trapped in that culturescape. You're trapped in this world of conventional living, of rituals, of ideas. You're trapped with trying to appease your parents or your culture or the people around you. You are actually prone to a form of peer pressure. But what you fail to realize is that you're succumbing to a form of peer pressure, a peer pressure called tradition, which is essentially peer pressure from dead people. But every now and then, at level 1, something shifts. I remember when I moved from level 1 to level 2, I was fortunate enough that it happened to me at an early age. My dad never went to university. He educated himself reading personal growth books. And when I was a young boy, 14 years old, I discovered my first book on personal growth. That shook me and awakened me, and I moved from level 1 to level 2. This is where the fun began. Level 2 is called the awakening. At level 2, you start to realize that the world isn't happening to you. You get to choose the world you want to experience. You can set goals. You can explore the power of intention. You can study personal growth. You can shift the world. You understand, for example, that your body doesn't have to age normally. You can take on biohacking practices to reshape your body. You understand the importance of vision boards. You start dabbling with creative visualization. 90% of you watching this masterclass today are probably at level 2. You see, if you're at level 1, this masterclass would never have popped on your radar. The very concept of reshaping reality is completely alien to you. You have to be at level 2 to respond to this masterclass. So many of you, 90% I'd say, are at level 2. You're trying all of these modalities. However, there's a level 3. Level 3 is where you start going beyond the conventional modalities. Creative visualization, by the way, is a phenomenal tool for level 2. Affirmations is a phenomenal tool for level 2. When you get to level 3, these tools are no longer as effective. There are more powerful tools you can bring into play. 90% of you are at level 2. When you get to level 3, there's a whole different tool set. So let's talk about level 3. Level 3 is about recoding yourself. It's about understanding that there's a world inside you. It's not just about shaping the world outside of you. It's about constantly shaping and recalibrating that world within you. As you meditate more, as you explore altered states of consciousness, you move into level 3. Level 3 is where it almost feels as if there is an invisible hand guiding you through life, sometimes messing up your life so you can move on to the next level of your evolution. Level 3 is the level of the beautiful destruction. And while it is amazing to be at level 3, there is a level 4, and only 1% of the world operates from level 4. These are the people who are the most fulfilled, who are the most expressed, who are truly changing the world. Level 4 is the domain of magic. Now, an extremely important nuance happens at level 4. At level 4, the tools change again. Goal setting starts to disappear at level 4. You no longer have goals or intention. Instead, you are guided through life. At level 4, beingness, it is inspiration that leads to intention. In short, your goals are not coming from your mind. Rather, your goals are coming from a higher power through you and becoming manifest in the world. This is how it works, and these are the 4 emergent qualities of level 4. The first is a deep sense of connectedness. When you move to level 4, you feel a sense of unity consciousness with the entire world. You feel, and it hurts you when you think about global warming. You feel, and it matters to you if people in countries beyond your own are going through suffering. At level 4, you're no longer boxed into an identity that says you are of a particular religion or race or country, and that your kindness and compassion should only extend to these people who fit that same destination. All life matters to you. That is the first step, a deep level of connectedness. As you connect deeper, what happens is the second emergent quality comes forth, and that is tapping into intuition. At level 4, intuition is constantly speaking to you. You wake up in the morning and you have intuition. You might wake up in the middle of the night with a new idea to bring into your business. If you choose to write a book, it flows effortlessly. You are hyper creative. Intuition leads to a third emergent quality, and that is this intuition, this inspiration, drives your intention. If you were to look at the goals of someone at level 4, the goals rarely come from them. The goals are rarely about the car or the house. The goals are much deeper. The goals are coming from the universe. The universe is whispering in their ear on what they have to create next. They report to a higher boss. Because this boss is clearing the way, the fourth emergent quality is that luck is on your side. You are perpetually lucky. You live life as if by magic. Now, I'm talking about where almost every day magic is happening. And these are the 4 emergent qualities of level 4. I repeat, a deep sense of connectedness, a connectedness that leads to intuition on demand. Intuition that leads to inspired action, inspired goals, and inspired goals which are supported by the universe. Thus, a perpetually lucky life. So as you can see, it's a circle that looks something like this. And this perpetually lucky life leads to an even deeper sense of connectedness because of how you're serving the world. Now, the important thing to understand is that when it comes to personal growth, the process that you choose must align with the level. And you got to use the right tools for the level that you're at. And I also want you to know that you can ascend these levels using the right tools in the right order, cause a recurring awakening that makes you move up from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And I also want you to remember that these levels exist on a spectrum, right? So there is a level 3.2 and a 3.3. It exists on a spectrum. It is simply for the sake of simplicity that I'm classifying them into these 4 different components. Now, the work that I do is designed to accelerate people's growth in these levels from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. This is why so many of the world's top performing individuals use my ideas. For example, recently this article came out in Billboard magazine. This made me so proud. Miguel, the famous R&B star. If you've heard songs such as Remember to Forget, that was Miguel. A truly multi-talented global superstar. He confessed to reporters that before getting on stage for his massive concerts, he meditates to the meditation program that you'll hear about soon. It's one of the tools that you use within these levels. Likewise, some of the practices and tools over here are used by sports stars like Tony Gonzalez. Just a few weeks ago, Tony Gonzalez mentioned in the New York Times that he listens to the precise meditation program that I teach. And he's been a student of these tools since 2015. Kent Weed is the famous Hollywood producer of Chef's Kitchen and American Ninja Warrior, a truly successful man, another student of these tools. All of these super performers are using these tools, and almost all of them are playing at level 4. That's why they're producing world-class music, or like Tony Gonzalez entering the NFL Hall of Fame, or like Kent Weed producing shows watched by millions of people. Level 4 living looks like that. Now, there is no guarantee that you will get to level 4 living, or maybe you will. But even if you move from level 2 to level 3, your life is going to go through a magnificent expansion. Now, an important thing from going to 3 to 4 is that when you get from 3 to 4, you become what is commonly labeled a visionary. A visionary is someone who is shifting the culturescape. See, at level 1, you're a victim of the culturescape, that tangled web of rules and religions and beliefs. At level 4, you are creating your own culturescape. You're writing your own code. You're creating your own rules and influencing thousands of other people. That is why this program is so important to me. The more people that we can elevate to level 4, who are conscious beings, who are deeply connected with the world and creating new visions for humanity, the greater we get to uplift everyone on the planet. To me, the solution to global warming, the solution to nationalism, the solution to war is to move as many people as possible from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Because at level 4, when you're operating from that level, you cannot help but invent new, more conscious, more kind, more compassionate ways of life and lead other human beings in that direction. That is what I want to be my contribution to bettering the earth, getting you to level 4 and giving you the right tools so you can make that shift. Okay, now let's start with the tools, and we're going to start with the tools for level 1. Now remember, almost all of you here are already beyond level 1. So why am I teaching you a level 1 tool? Well, firstly, this tool is really cool and powerful. Secondly, we all know people stuck at level 1 and we want to help them. So this is a simple tool you could teach to your child or teach to your in-law if you want to play that game, to help them move up and start seeing that they do not have to be a victim of circumstance and that they have some control over the world. Now, this tool comes from a remarkable spiritual philosopher whom I've studied with. I've flown to attend her seminars, and she was one of the 200 different teachers I've studied from. Her name is Esther Hicks. She's an incredibly popular author, and this tool is called segment intending. Esther Hicks says, if you are trying to change the way the world works, so Esther Hicks says that all of us are souls having a human experience. And she says that we all have remarkable power to shift reality. Our job here in this flesh and bone body is to learn to remember this power and to use this power and to elevate and grow, to be able to use this power to better the world and to make all our desires come true. Now, Esther teaches this really simple tool for people who are just starting out. But honestly, this tool is extremely useful. I still use it every day because it's quick. You can do it in the subway, you can do it in the car, and it's a tool you can teach your kids. It's based on the idea of imagine if, and the tool is called segment intending. Ready? This is how it works. In the morning when you wake up, when you're in your meditation, or simply if you are in your commute, think about how your day is going to unfold and divide your day into segments. I like to divide my day into 2 to 3 hour segments. There is my morning personal growth time, maybe going to the gym, meditating, watching a Mindvalley quest. There's my morning at work, my first meetings of the day. There's my lunch. Then there is my post-lunch meeting. There's my 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. phone calls. There's my commute back, my time of dinner and Netflix with the family, my reading time and my bedtime. These are my segments. think about the segments that you would have and quickly write them down now. You can divide your day into 4 or 5 or 6 or even 10 segments. Write them down really quickly now. Okay, now, as you're writing down these segments, here's what Esther Hicks suggests. She says, you can start playing with your power to shape the world by intending that each segment goes beautifully well. This is why it's called segment intending. So for example, I start my day by going, I'm going to have an incredible time at the gym and my morning meditation is going to be insanely deep. My morning at work today is going to be inspiring and I'm going to have a remarkable idea come up at our morning scrum. I'm going to have a wonderful lunch with that client. Food is going to be good. It's going to smell great. An inspiring conversation will happen. My afternoon at work, we're going to nail that project and come up with the specs for our new app. My commute back is going to be free, fast, no traffic with my favorite podcast playing on the radio. My segment with the family is going to be filled with an incredible meal and me and my son are going to have some great bonding time. So you see, I'm setting an intention for every segment. Now, Esther says if you were teaching this to someone who is still kind of on the fence about thoughts creating reality, ask them to approach it as a wouldn't it be nice game. For example, wouldn't it be nice if my commute was really great today? Wouldn't it be nice if my early morning scrum went remarkably well? Wouldn't it be nice if in the afternoon during a 3-hour project management meeting, we nailed this process we've been stumbling on? Wouldn't it be nice if I have the most incredible dinner today? Now, the segment intending works because, firstly, you are training your mind to start dabbling with shifting reality. So even if you're skeptical of this idea, when you start doing segment intending, you will start seeing things happen. Now it works so beautifully because our mind is like a goal-seeking missile. If we tell our mind that we're going to have an inspiring, amazing lunch with great food, and you go and you actually have that lunch, right? And the waiter comes up and messes up your order, guess what? It's going to create less of a stress for you because you've programmed your mind to pay attention to other things, the inspiring conversation, the great taste of the food, the ambiance of the restaurant. Even when you walk away from that situation, you will remember it differently. So someone who is stubborn on personal growth and doesn't buy the whole mind-influence reality thing, they will still notice remarkable benefits, and this awakens them up. So the ultimate tool for level 1 is segment intending. And that is a tool you can now use in your life and also teach to other people you know who are stuck at level 1. Now, even if you are convinced you're at level 2, right? Segment intending is still a powerful tool you can do in the shower, you can do in your commute, so I still recommend you do it. You're simply setting intention on how you want your day to unfold. Keep in mind, I do segment intending every single day. With deliberate intention, I decide how my day is going to unfold, and it does so effortlessly. But now, let's go to level 2. Now, level 2 is the domain of the bulk of personal growth programs out there. Level 2 is the domain of biohacking, of longevity hacking, of creative visualization, of vision boards. All of these fall within level 2. But since we're talking about the mind, I'm going to focus on simply 2 tools. But of all the tools at level 2, the most powerful one, in my opinion, is the tool of creative visualization. This is where you go into an altered state and you visualize the future that you want. This tool has done so much for me when I was at level 2. But I can tell you this, right? Creative visualization, amazing at level 2, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips to bring this into your life. But when you get to the next levels, you stop doing creative visualization and you start playing with more advanced tools. So in my opinion, the foremost researcher on creative visualization is Jose Silva. From the 1960s all the way to the 80s, he was teaching something called the Silva method. I was one of his facilitators and teachers. And the research he did showed this. Firstly, if you're doing creative visualization, you want to take that vision that you seek to manifest in the world and see it in front of you 15 degrees above the line of horizon. So if this is your eye, you're raising your eye about 15 degrees. That actually activates, and alpha waves enhance the results of creative visualization. So again, line of horizon, raise your eyes by 15 degrees and see a giant screen. He calls it the mental screen. Imagine a 77-inch TV on a wall. Now, Jose's instructions are really specific. The TV, the mental screen, should be 6 feet in front of you, 15 degrees above the line of horizon. And it is on this screen that you visualize whatever it is that you want to manifest in your world. Practicing this for just 3 minutes a day during your morning meditation can have a profound result on your life. So let's say you've done protocols such as the 3 most important questions or life book, right? Pick something from that list and for 3 minutes a day, visualize it. Now, the second thing you want to do after putting it on your mental screen is to bring in all senses. So think about all 5 senses. Not just visualize, which is the sense of sight, but what do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? What are you touching? And what are you tasting? For example, if you're visualizing a really incredible date, what are you eating? What is that taste? If you're visualizing a brand new car, what does it feel like to have your hands on the steering wheel, the wind flowing through your hair? Bringing all 5 senses helps magnify the impact. Now we can go further. Perhaps the most important rule I learned studying creative visualization and even producing a program on it many years ago is this: the power of expectancy. It is not what you visualize. Rather, it is the feeling you walk away post-visualization. If you come out of that session and you still feel doubt or fear, you've just short-circuited everything. But if you come out of that session and you have a positive expectancy that what you visualize is going to come to you, you are going to make that true. In short, it is about the feeling post-visualization and not just the visualization. The visualization, rather, is putting grooves in your subconscious, is fine-tuning the way you think about this idea or this concept or this vision of life that you want to bring forth. But it is how you feel when you walk away where the magic happens. Now, this, of course, raises the question: if I want something, how often do I visualize? These are the rules. Only once. If you do it once and you walk away feeling it's coming to me, hell yes, and you live your life with that positive expectancy, you only need to do it once. But if the next day you start having doubts again, will I really meet that goal for that body I want? Will I really meet that special someone? You can do it again. You can do it as many times as you want for that quick boost of expectancy, but it is expectancy that is the key. You must end and emerge from your visualization with positive expectancy that what you seek is going to come to you. Now, there are a couple of other rules for creative visualization that make it work better. In my program, Becoming Extraordinary, I go deep into many of these tools. I teach you how to apply creative visualization to healing. I've had a lot of fun and success with this. I hinted earlier on how I was able to heal my knee. Doctors told me that they would have to literally do an invasive surgery on my knee and that for 1 month I'd be on crutches. I chose not to do that, but rather to work with some of my mentors and go deep into healing modalities. 14 months later, I'm running and jumping again, and I feel so liberated. I've also applied healing through creative visualization to enhance and improve other aspects of my life and my body, especially slowing down aging, losing weight, and transforming health. I used to have really bad skin. My first success, and if you want to try, here's a tip. When it comes to healing for creative visualization, start with something small. Now, one of the biggest organs of your body that you can influence with your mind is your skin. Your skin is incredibly susceptible to your mind. Doctors found, for example, that children with warts, they could heal the warts with a fake ointment, telling a child that this ointment, if he applied it on the wart, would cause the wart to disappear. And it would. Likewise, when I was 17 years old and I first started applying creative visualization to healing, I picked my skin because I was a horribly pimply-faced teenager. And I'd gone to dermatologists and nothing worked. I'd had serious acne issues for 5 years, to the point where at least once a year I was seeing a dermatologist, a skin doctor. And medicine helped, but it didn't really rid the pimples. I started applying creative visualization, and I followed the exact procedure described by Jose Silva in his early work. And it said this: if you have a health issue that's really ailing you, practice creative visualization 3 times a day. And 5 minutes is good, 10 minutes is very good, 15 minutes is excellent. Once a day is good, twice a day is very good. So literally, if you're short of time, 5 minutes 3 times a day. Now that was what I did. For 5 minutes 3 times a day, I would visualize my skin glowing and healthy. In 5 weeks, my acne disappeared. And I've been a fan of creative visualization ever since. So remember these tips. Let's recap for a moment here. Remember the story of Bianca Andreescu, the graduate of this program who beat Serena Williams at the young age of 19? In other interviews, she said that she was doing creative visualization for 3 years, visualizing that moment from the age of 16 to 19. And check out this story. This letter came to me, and it's so inspiring. It's from Christina Duffy from the USA. Christina signed up for the Be Extraordinary program, the program associated with this masterclass. She said she hadn't even completed the program because she was so sick. But then in the last few weeks, she started feeling better and found out that her results were completely negative and she no longer had cancer. The exact tools she used in the program beyond creative visualization, she went on to say, I truly feel that your forgiveness exercise, the meditation you teach, and my increased ability to bend reality due to your teachings resulted in me reversing the cancer. I want you to know, now get this, she said, I want you to know that your teachings are changing people's lives, even if a student is just on chapter 2. So this is a 9-part program. So she didn't even get through 25% of the program. And she started seeing these results. Now, we can in no way claim that this program will help you with that sort of dramatic healing. It is happening from you. But we know that because of placebo research, medical science is saying that almost all illness is to some degree influenced by the human mind. So you can imagine what happens when you learn to train your mind. So let's do a quick recap. If you're at level 1, apply segment intending. Now you can be at higher levels, and segment intending is still a very useful thing to do, shower or while you're commuting. At level 2, creative visualization for manifesting your goals and for healing is the most powerful tool that you could possibly bring into your life. But when you get to level 3, there is a powerful nuance that starts to happen. And this is what I want to talk about next. Level 3 is called recoding yourself, because this is where you start understanding that it's not just about the outside world, it's about the inner world. You start to understand that there is an inner space within you, and you can tap and navigate this space. You can access altered states of mind, and there's a magic that you can do within yourself and see that reflected in the outside world. The big shift that happens at level 3 is intuition. You get completely tapped in. So yes, you have the tools of creative visualization, but you're no longer just visualizing what is on your vision board or your life book or your 3MIQ. You're visualizing what intuition and inspiration is pushing you towards. You gain new insights for products, for companies. Sometimes you don't even know why you feel this calling, but you trust that calling because you know your hit rate. You know that intuition doesn't let you down. You start to trust that intuition. I've had students who have used this intuition to invest in the right stock, to focus on an idea and build it into a company, to even date the right person or undate the wrong person. Intuition becomes this powerful tool in your repertoire, but this intuition leads to intention. In short, you are guided in terms of what you want to manifest into your life. And you don't end up manifesting something that ultimately makes you unhappy. Think about it. So many of us think we know what we want. We set goals, but these goals aren't coming from us. They're coming from the programming of the culturescape. Goal setting in the Western world is actually pretty dangerous because often the goals that you think are yours were programmed within you from culture, from media, from religion, from advertising. But when you're at level 3, you're immune to this. You're listening to your inspiration, and your inspiration is guiding you on the goals to pursue. Therefore, you don't end up getting that big house, but feeling lonely within it. You don't end up getting married to someone only to see that end in divorce a mere 1 year later. You don't end up taking a job that you're excited about only to feel crushed and disappointed a few months down the road. You are moving towards what your soul knows is right for you. Level 3 living is essentially about listening to that deep inner voice. And what I love teaching is how to activate that voice. For 5 years, I went deep into the art of teaching people how to turn on waking intuition. And I was teaching classes across New York and London. Waking intuition is a phenomenon where you can be walking down a street and you instantly get an impulse. I was in Egypt recently. I was walking down a street about to cross a bridge over the Nile, and all of a sudden I heard this voice that said, "Turn around." And I know to trust my intuition. So I turned around. And immediately I bumped into an Egyptian man. And he looked at me and he goes, "Where are you from?" And I explained where I was from, and I explained I was a tourist. And he said, "Oh, that's really interesting. I've always wanted to meet someone from your country. Can I take you out for dinner?" Now my intuition said, "Go for dinner with this stranger." So I went for dinner with this stranger. Turned out he was an archaeologist working on identifying the exact location of Alexander the Great's burial spot. And I'm a big fan of Alexander the Great. I've read his autobiography, I've watched the movies. So this was such a beautiful, delightful dinner. But it happened because of this inner intuition. Now, that is just a small example. I've listened to this intuition that stems from operating at level 3 to make the right decisions, to invest in the right apps, to grow my company with no venture capital funding to approaching $100 million in revenue. That is the power of intuition. So I really want to stress how important it is to move up to level 3. So the difference between level 2 and 3 is that at level 3, your intuition is deciding what you put on creative visualization. So true success, true fulfillment comes to you much faster. I want to add a caveat here. To train for intuition, you must learn to access altered states of mind. You must learn to go deep from what is called the beta state, which scientists can measure through an EEG machine, to alpha and theta. Theta is the level of intuition. That's where creative ideas come forth. And many great thinkers throughout the world have used different techniques to operate at theta. Take Edison, for example. Edison is known for his famous afternoon naps. Now, he had created close to 2,500 patents. He invented the light bulb. He invented the phonograph. He invented the early movie theater. But Edison was known to do this. He would nap and he would hold a metal ball in his hand, and below him on the floor would be a metal plate. And just as he dipped into his nap, his arm would drop, the ball would hit the plate, creating a clanging sound that would jolt him awake. Now, what was he doing? Some people believe that he was dipping into the theta level of mind, which you get when you go into a certain type of sleep to pull out new ideas. And this is why intuition is so powerful. But now we come to level 4. Level 4 is the level I'm most excited about. Level 4 is about becoming extraordinary. Now, here's how I define that. At level 4, you're deeply connected to all life. This connection leads to intuition. This intuition leads to intention. Your intuition is guiding what you want to create. And because you're focused on what the universe is asking you to do, you are blessed with incredible luck. Level 4 is where life truly becomes magical. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when you get to level 4, the tools that you use are going to change. You go beyond creative visualization and you use a tool that is more on the mystical level. That tool for me is merging. When I started moving from 3 to 4, I stopped creative visualization. And if you go deep into my program, you'll understand why. Because there's a far more effective tool. The tool is called merging. And I want to give you a brief idea of what this tool is like. But due to limitations of time, we can't go deep. Don't worry, I'll tell you how you can learn and master this tool. Merging is about working with the energy of the world around you. When you get to level 4, you start understanding that the world is more energy than it is physical. The physical, rather, is an illusion. You learn to work with the underlying energy of anything, whether it's an upcoming meeting, or it is a party you're organizing, or it is a project you need to accomplish, or it's a health issue. and you tweak and play with the energy, and that shifts the world. Now, as you're working with the energy, you're not seeing anything, you're not actually visualizing anything, you're merely sensing. So intuition is part of the process, and you're using light, different radiant colors of light within what is essentially a matrix, sort of like a fractal pattern or an energetic pattern of the world. That is the best I can do to describe what level 4 is like. Now, at this point, I want to ask you, what level do you think you're at? So that was a tricky question. According to Ken Wilber, my friend and one of the most prominent spiritual philosophers in the world, who studies patterns of consciousness, he says almost every individual overestimates the level they are on. Remember, these levels are like a spectrum, right? So it's not like there's a hard 3 and a hard 4. There's a 3.1, a 3.4.5, and so on. And so what Ken says is that if you think you're at level 4, you're actually at level 3. He says everybody almost overestimates the level they're at by one factor. If you think you're at level 2, you could very well be at level 1. And if you think you're at level 3, you could be at level 2. And this is actually a beautiful thing because it means there's so much more for us to grow. But remember this, no matter where you are, with the right tools, you can ascend these levels. So I hope you enjoyed this training so far. And what I'm going to share next is how to learn the tools to ascend the levels rapidly. As you know, I train a lot of the world's super performers, and very often articles emerge in the New York Times or Billboard magazine or other publications on how a certain rock star or an athlete are using my frameworks and my tools, and my name is mentioned right there. I used to teach this in live seminars, but as my popularity has grown, I'm no longer able to travel and teach live seminars. When I do, it's around $4,000 a head for a 2-day commitment. And it happens only about once a year because I have a company to run and a business. So I train facilitators around the world, many incredible teachers, and our teachers are world class. Even Kent Weed, who I said earlier was a student of these programs and who produces American Ninja Warrior, is one of our teachers. And almost all our teachers are extremely accomplished individuals. One employs 5,000 people. One is an ex-parliamentary member. They teach the Becoming Extraordinary program all across the world. And if you want to travel and attend a seminar, you can do so. There are around 50 seminars a year. But I also wanted to create an online course for those who want to learn in the comfort of their own home, directly with me. What you learn in this online course is how to bring these principles into your life. And this course is designed based on an idea that came to me during intuition. I realized that many online courses were not effective. If I ask you to sit down and spend 8 hours going through a program, it's not going to be as effective if I stretch it out over 30 days and ask you to join me for between 10 to 20 minutes every day. 10 to 20 minutes a day. And I call this model a quest. Every day for 10 to 20 minutes, I want to personally coach you and train you and give you insights, nuggets, practices, and teach you tools. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to do every day. At the end of 30 days, you will go through one of the most remarkable transformations of your life. The program is called Be Extraordinary. It is one of the highest rated programs in Mindvalley, and it's a program that has changed tens of thousands of lives. So at this point, I want to urge you, don't be a dabbler. You've hit a fork in the road. You could take the ideas here and go and try to apply it, or you could go deep and decide to join this class and think about who you could be 30 days from now. I want you to look back at your journal. I want you to look at the 7 emergent qualities that start to come forth when you go deep into this work. Look at the one you circled and look at your why. Why do you want that shift in your life? Now, what if that shift could come remarkably fast? Honestly, this is a 4-week program, but as you heard from some of the earlier stories, people see remarkable results in week 1 or even week 2. This is what we're going to cover in those 4 weeks in 9 different parts. And what you'll find that the tools you learn here will accelerate every aspect of your life. I got this letter from Pavel, who said in 6 months he moved further along all his projects than he had done for the prior 7 years because of studying Be Extraordinary. Now, let me give you an idea of what I'm going to cover in this program And I want you to know that if you look below this masterclass video, you'll see that as a thank you for showing up for this masterclass, I'm going to give you a special unlock price. It's only available on this page, so don't close this page. This masterclass that you went through is already a tiny section of this program. I'd say about 5 minutes. So I'll give you a special unlock price because you've made it this far. This price is only available on this page. Scroll down below this video to check out the price and enroll now. And keep this in mind as I read you the contents of what you're about to learn. You don't have to make up your mind right now. As soon as you enroll, hours of content will already be unlocked for you. So let me give you an idea of what we're going to cover. Part 1 is about reconstructing reality. You start to understand true spirituality, maps of consciousness. You start to understand how to get out of the personal growth trap. So many people embrace personal growth and they live a life dedicated to personal growth, but ultimately they are not creating mass change in the world. Here you learn how to get off your yoga mat and your meditation cushion and to take the knowledge and the wisdom that introspection has given you, but how to go forth and truly shake up the world, crush it at your job, become a visionary. And that's just part 1. Part 2 is about becoming a spiritual badass. This means being able to tap into spiritual skills, but having a clear vision of what you want to shift in the world. So many people out there lack clarity. Here you get a crystal clear vision of how to create magnificence in every aspect of your life. In part 3, we talk about emotions and happiness. You learn how to hack happiness so that you are in a blissful, joyous state more often, because what you will learn is that your emotional levels will accurately predict and affect how fast you create reality. Part 4 is about manifesting and goals. You learn how to set the right goals, how to escape the culturescape, and you learn some of the most advanced goal-setting programs in the world. You go deep into creating your own 3MIQ, which is a goal-setting methodology that has been used by thousands of businesses around the world that I invented many years back. But you go beyond the 3MIQ into more advanced goal-setting methodologies that I've not yet shared publicly. In part 5, you learn how to become unfuckwithable. To be unfuckwithable means as you're becoming a visionary, as you're setting these goals, as you're going against the status quo, people will criticize you. You learn to be immune to criticism, to be immune to judgment, to live your own life because you're filled with self-love, self-confidence, and an intuitive impulse letting you know you're on the right track. Part 6 is about boldness and becoming immune to suffering. It's about taking your goals and expanding them, making them more bold, and understanding how to view the inevitable suffering or beautiful destructions that might occur so that you have incredible grit and resilience. And that takes us to part 7, which is on intuition. Now here we go deep in intuition, not just intuition that comes from within, but I'm going to get a little metaphysical. Well, I'm going to talk about how to connect with guides and how to bring intuition from outside yourself so that you're always on the right path and you seem to have a magic touch. Part 8 is mastering bending reality. This is where you get to accelerate your health. You get to make your bold goals fueled by intuition come forth as fast as possible. And then we come to part 9. Part 9 is where you embrace the spiritual nature of your being. And this is where you learn the merging technique to how to basically influence the world by influencing the underlying energy that runs the world. This is where you become a graduate of Be Extraordinary, and your life starts to unfold for you in the most remarkable ways. It is a 30-day journey between 10 minutes to 20 minutes a day, which is easy time for everyone. And I guarantee this will be one of the single greatest investments you make in yourself. Now, people pay thousands of dollars to come and train with me. When I first started A-Fest, which is my highest level event, it had a waiting list, 20% acceptance rate, and $5,000 to get in because this stuff worked. And the very first A-Fest were focused on this material. And you're getting this for a fraction of that. And because I want you to have the best experience, I'm also going to give you 2 bonus programs to really solidify this experience. The first bonus program is called Mind Hacking. This is going to come free with Be Extraordinary. So Be Extraordinary is run like a classroom. there's a specific start date. You have to enroll before the start date because 1,000 students start together. So the first thing to understand is this program is very uniquely designed. Be Extraordinary is like a classroom. It starts on a specific date. Everyone is on day 1 together, day 2 together. If you skip a day, don't worry. You can always catch up. And you own the program for life. But for the first 30 days, everyone is together. So you have a tribe of fellow students with facilitators put in to help you along. So you're getting a full-on experience. You start on a specific date and you have to enroll before that date, which is coming soon. You'll see it below this video. But for those of you who enroll now, I'm going to give you 2 special bonus programs to help you get the best results out of this. The first bonus program is called Mind Hacking. And this is where you learn how to hack your models of reality and remove beliefs that were implanted in you by society, culture, tradition, religion, and other things that may no longer be serving you. You also learn how to hack your systems for living, your daily, day-to-day life, so you live your most optimized self. Mind hacking is free in the warm-up section of this program. So as soon as you enroll, the warm-up section is completely unlocked. You can watch as many lessons as you want, and the mind hacking program is part of it. You will learn systems and models. And then on the specific day designated, the class begins, and you go through the 30-day Be Extraordinary program with all your fellow students. I also want to give you a second bonus program. Remember what I said. Intuition best emerges when you're able to access altered states of mind. Some of you may already have a deep meditation practice, but if you don't have an advanced meditation practice, I want to give you a program called the 6-phase meditation. This is the meditation process I invented. It's an 8-day program, again, 20 minutes a day, and it'll train you to become a master meditator. The 6-phase is so effective that this is the meditation program that sports stars from every major sporting team in America use today. And I personally train many elite athletes because the 6-phase transforms the way you show up in the world. And athletes are particularly aware of that. They know if they eat a banana in the morning, how it's going to affect their game that day. The 6-phase meditation has been endorsed by athletes across the world, including NFL Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. And I cannot wait to get started on this journey for you. Imagine the possibilities which are going to be unlocked in just week 1. And imagine who you're going to be in week 4. So what you learned thus far was just 1 or 2 tools, and we didn't have a chance to go deep. I simply gave you a rough idea of these tools, but there's so much depth to them. And in the program, Be Extraordinary, there are over 20 tools that you can use. Not only do you ascend these levels, but you get access to these 20 tools and you learn when and how to use them. And I take you deep into these tools. So again, don't be a dabbler. Don't think that you've watched this masterclass for about an hour and you've figured this out. Go deep, because you can see from the stories I've shared how powerful this training is. So I cannot wait to see you in the full program. Go ahead and enroll below. And remember all the stories I shared, all these incredible individuals who are using the tools here. And think about the fact that next year when we release this program again, you could be one of those stories. I cannot wait to hear from you. So I want to answer all the questions you could possibly have on the Be Extraordinary program. The first question is, how long will this take? Well, the program is 30 days. It's between 10 to 20 minutes a day. And the reason it's stretched out like that is because this is the way you create change that lasts, because I'm actually molding habits, molding beliefs. You can't do that if you sit in an 8-hour program in one shot. It happens best when it's done over time, over 30 days specifically. The second question is, what are the bonuses I get? You get 2 bonuses when you enroll in this program. The first is the 6-phase meditation. So for those of you who may not have a deep, powerful meditation practice, this bonus will train you how to get there. This is a truly powerful program, yours for free when you enroll in Be Extraordinary. The second bonus is mind hacking, sometimes called consciousness engineering. You will learn how to adjust and expand your beliefs about the world, how to remove bad beliefs that might be holding you back and swap in positive beliefs. You also learn how to bring in advanced systems for living so that your daily habits, your daily practices are fully optimized to make you a top performer. The third question is, how fast do I see results? You see results every single day. Honestly, by day 1 itself, you will have a mind shift. People have reported astonishing results even upon completing week 1. Read the case studies and testimonials on this page. And someone asked, Vishen, you have so much content all across the web. Thank you. I live to serve. But they asked, is this going to be truly original content? I've studied all of your work. Well, the answer is yes. Here's why. I don't put all my best stuff for free. Why would I possibly do that? So there's a lot of stuff here. Yes, there will be some ideas here that if you really want to spend hours upon hours searching YouTube, I'm sure you'll find an old talk or something, but why waste that time, right? There might be some stuff here that's out there, but the bulk of this is original content only in this program. Furthermore, there's a difference between using this program and watching a talk or reading a book. Watching a talk or reading a book is a very passive form of learning. This program, I'm actually guiding you into meditations. I'm actually helping you reprogram your mind. It's like having a trained coach and facilitator actually going into your subconscious and training your conscious and creating shifts on the spot. That's what makes this truly unique. So thank you. I cannot wait to see you in Be Extraordinary.